Wednesday, 2nd of June 2021. Coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Breakfast Central.
Hello and good morning, Africa. Welcome. This is Wednesday's edition of Breakfast Central on News Central. My name is Olisa Chukuma.
Yes, indeed. And we're ready to bring you the latest happening around the continent of Africa and beyond. I am Oluchi Enobong. I will start the show today with the headlines.
For International Child Protection Week in South Africa, we'll tell you all about it.
Thousands left without water looking at the Democratic Republic of Congo and the volcano.
In entertainment, files during insecurity protests in Nigeria.
And in the world of health, we're looking at COVID-19 and the update.
There'll also be reports from other parts of Africa. You don't want to miss it.
Right here on Breakfast Central.
Kuna kallon News Central TV.
Many thanks for watching this Breakfast Central on a Wednesday, 2nd June 2021. Our top story, first of all, takes us to South Africa, where the rights of children in the country are in the spotlight this week as the country marks National Child Protection Week. Now, South Africa has been marking Child Protection Week since 1997 as a campaign of annually to engage, educate, and keep the families and children in communities safe.
Now, the theme for this year's week is Let Us Protect Children During COVID-19 and Beyond. Joining us this morning is Dr. Shahida Omar from the Teddy Bear Clinic in South Africa, which provides help to children who have been abused or neglected. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning to you and all the viewers out there.
Thank
you for this opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Central. Now, tell us, why is it so important in South Africa to mark the Children Protection Week as it is in South Africa now?
So I would like to clarify one thing. Yes, it's Child Protection Week. We've started the launch 2 days ago, but child protection is not only during Child Protection Week. It's every day, every hour, every minute, every second. It should be a 365-day campaign, and that is what we propagate, the protection of children at all times by everybody, and together we can all protect children, ensuring their safety and security and protection.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Shahida, well pointed out, goes beyond the week. But the theme for this year's, child protection during COVID is, what are some of the biggest challenges children in South Africa have been facing in terms of COVID-19 so far?
So if we just reflect on a year ago, I think the challenges were, at the time, it was unprecedented. It hit us totally, in a state of feeling helpless and hopeless and not knowing what to do. And of course, many families and children fell through the cracks at the time because there were no protocols on dealing with the pandemic. Both government and civil society were actually trying to pick up the pieces. But reflecting on the past year, I would like to actually express that protocols have been put in place, referral pathways have been created, a directory of services of who, what, where, when, and how, and also backup plans. So plan A, and then of course contingency plans, because the challenges that we experienced last year in 2020 was that very often when children were entrapped and supposed to be safe at home, many of them were actually not safe. they were being violated at home. Both mothers and children were victims of physical, emotional abuse, neglect, and even sexual abuse. And I think that was a huge challenge because they could not actually leave their residence, or they were afraid, fear of reprisal from law enforcement because of the lockdown. So the challenges that we continue to face, of course, is the loss of household income, increased unemployment, food insecurity, and even children's mental state, physical and mental state, still being compromised because children are surrounded by death and dying. The anxiety levels have increased. We are also faced with post-traumatic stress disorder, where children are suffering, because of the confusion, the uncertainty, the insecurities. And of course, this is all contributed to household challenges where there's frustrations, angers, tempers flaring, and the outcome is not always positive. So these are just a few of the challenges. Last year, we know that many of the schools were shut down and children were trapped at home, and parents were faced with, of course, the responsibility not only of providing food and security, but also looking at how to stimulate their children. Suddenly, some of them had access to the internet, many did not have access to the internet. So children were deprived of all forms of stimulation, education, and of course nutrition, where schools were providing food. So the food insecurity certainly contributed to the, compromised the physical health and well-being of many children and families.
All right, now, Dr. Omar, you've mentioned quite a number of challenges that the children were facing, especially in the year 2020. And some of these challenges you've also highlighted that there are challenges that the children face even beyond COVID. So these are some of the things you've highlighted to us. Now, if you have an opportunity, if your organization has an opportunity to speak with the government, what are some of the calls that your organization would like to make to the government in terms of improving child protection in South Africa?
Well, I think the first thing, government needs to actually look at putting a budget, increasing the budget to child protection. They need to sit with National Treasury, because children are our future generation and future leaders. And the reality is, if we just look at the child support grant, as we speak now, the increase in the child support grant was absolutely shocking, in an increase of 10 Rand for this year. Now, these are already families in dire need, families who do not have and who cannot provide for the basic needs. So that is something that government firstly would need to look at. But government also needs to work closely with civil society organizations, your faith-based organizations, your community-based organizations, because this needs to be a collaborative effort which is integrated and of course implemented into societies. Also opportunities for small business development, entrepreneurship, and also ensuring that food is not it's not a luxury, it's a right to every child I think not only in South Africa, but I think for every child that exists in the world. So these are things that the government needs to look at. But I also want to just express something which I think is critical.
Okay.
Is that so many innovations occurred during this period, where previously we were seeing children face-to-face. Counseling and therapy and support was provided to families. With the lockdown, this was not possible, sometimes because of financial constraints, but also because of the total shutdown, lockdown period. So civil society organizations became quite creative and actually looked at using smart devices, getting sponsorship from your service providers like Vodacom, MTN, Cell C, and getting data to the children to reach out to them and provide support, whether on WhatsApp or FaceTime or any other opportunity to engage and contain children during this crisis.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shahida Omar, joining us from Johannesburg about the National Child Protection Week in South Africa. And just like you said, Dr. Shahida, it goes beyond this week. Child protection is also constant and should be a right in terms of food and protection for children. Thank you once again from Johannesburg.
Thank you.
All right, there's still more top stories here on Breakfast Central. All right, more top stories here. Now, Médecins Sans Frontières, so we call them Doctors Without Borders, says that more than 500,000 people in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo have lost their supply of drinking water as a result of the recent volcanic eruption.
Now, MSF said because cholera was endemic and posed a great threat, there was an urgent need to provide people in the city of Goma with safe drinking water. Reservoir and pipes were damaged when one of the world's most active volcanoes, Mount Iriagongo, erupted just 10 days ago.
Now, since then, there have been many tremors and hundreds of thousands of people are still unable to return to their homes and in need of humanitarian assistance. It's been quite the big story we're following right here on Breakfast Central. Well, still lots to come. We've got the headlines on the newspapers up next. Right, it's a Wednesday, Breakfast Central, second day of June 2021. Let's go straight to the morning papers. We'll start it in West Africa, Nigeria, with The Nation to see what they have this morning. So there you have it for a splash banger, if you may, from Nigeria. Buhari to arsonists, killers, agitators, and it says, I will shock you. That is on the front page. There was a tweet from the president yesterday, which has really raised eyebrows around the country. There'll be more to follow on that. Also, the bottom insecurity won't define our administration, says the federal government spokesperson, like Mohammed, quotes in the picture there. And all about the Kwara governors, PDP disagree on achievements and says there's a toll likely to return on federal highways as contractors get May 2022 deadline on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. All about toll gates in various states in Nigeria. Find out on the front page of The Nation.
All right, from West Africa, we're moving to South Africa. We're looking at the Star newspaper this morning, and with the very obvious headlines, they're talking about trafficking and brothels on the rise. I mean, this is such a peculiar day, knowing that today is a day where this category of people are being recognized around international.
What category
internationally, they've been recognized.
Are you talking about this?
I mean, we're looking at sex workers. If you look at what this is talking about,
okay.
The brothels on the rise. But you need to go to the front page of the Star newspaper to look at what it says about trafficking and brothels on the rise this morning. You will see that there. Also, in the papers, that's the Star paper, Prince Simakade Zulu, that's what it says, he emerges as surprise contender. So it says in the paper this morning for you to read. You can get all of this from the Star newspaper in South Africa.
I like my South African papers, whether it's the Sowetan or the Star, they do know how to give you that, bit of a teaser-weaser. All right, so let's move forward. The Standard, we go in Kenya to see what they have this morning. So on the front page, it says judiciary on the cross. So that's the picture of the president talking about Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga. So it says President Kenyatta draws the line, accuses judiciary of not listening to the people and being ignorant of the cost implications of some of his decisions as it reignites debate on BBI. So BBI suffered a big blow in the last couple of days after the judiciary really struck it out, and the president is talking alongside Raila Odinga. So there you have it on the front page of the Standard. Follow that in Kenya. All
right, from Kenya, we move to Rwanda. We're looking at the New Times this morning. And the front page of the New Times has a picture of a man, a disabled man. This is a man with walking disability who is being helped on a bus using special ramp that's fitted specially for people like him. Now, this is for the new policy for people with disabilities to deepen inclusion. That's what the paper says this morning. It's the first of its kind, so says the paper. And it also says that the new policy has been welcomed by different stakeholders. You'll find this in the New Times this morning for you to read. Also in the New Times, it says Belgium, Germany to return cultural treasures to Rwanda. Ooh. I mean, this is a good one, is it? But will it be accepted? Will it be taken back? Is a question.
Perhaps of course it should.
Well, let's not forget in recent times, I mean, just many days ago, just in the early part of this week and last week, where Burundi refused the amount of money that was given to them. Remember?
Oh,
yes. So this
okay.
is, I mean, it's coming at a time when a lot of African countries are beginning to speak out in terms of the colonialism that happened in the era when it happened and some of the side effects and the genocide, as it were, that happened at that time. But of course, will this be a welcome development? You need to read more information in the New Times from Rwanda.
All right, so that's it for the newspaper headlines. We now move straight for Africa Report. And we are still in South Africa, where a shooting has been reported in the country which led to the death of 7 people. Now, correspondent Ene Akombe is here to tell us all about it. Good morning, Ene.
And good morning to you as well. It's a beautiful day today. However, yesterday afternoon, police confronted a group in a house in Scottsville in Pietermaritzburg, the capital of KwaZulu-Natal, believed to be criminals, and a shootout ensued and all 7 of them shot and killed. 5 male and 2 female, whom according to the police minister Becky Cele cannot be confirmed if the females were there as part of the gang or they were there by force. One of the men killed is believed to be one of the 46 prisoners and the ringleader of a gang who, in April this year, while being transported to court, the driver forced off the road and the prisoners escaped. Some of them have been rounded up by the police, with some still on the run. Now, according to the police spokeswoman for KZN, Colonel Tempeke Mbele, police received information that the gangs terrorizing the community were hiding in Scottsville. Now, getting to the location, there was an exchange of fire between the house occupants and the police, leaving 7 of the occupants dead with 6 firearms recovered. Police say some of those shot were responsible for a violent crime spree in various suburbs of Pietermaritzburg. No police officers were injured in the shootouts. In Gauteng, the Education MEC Panyaza Lefusi visited Congo Hill College in Pretoria on Monday, the 31st of May, 2021, following allegations of racism, which resulted in a standoff between parents and school officials. Parents held a silent protest last week demanding the removal of the school's principal and the chairman of the board for failing to root out racism. A female learner at the school struggled to hold back tears as she recalled some of her encounters with racism, which she claims started when she was just in grade 4, and a teacher told her that her hair was unpresentable and would look better if straightened. She also claimed that at some point they were barred from speaking their home languages, while languages like Afrikaans took precedence. Last year, past and current pupils wrote testimonials about their experiences of racism and discrimination at the school and claimed that their complaints had fallen on deaf ears. Lesufi has reprimanded Congo Hill College for calling out Black learners on their hair and said he has been assured by the school's management that allegations of racism will be attended to. And that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
All right, welcome back to Breakfast Central on News Central TV. Now, as African countries and the world in general battle the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, there seems to be a bit of good news coming from Morocco. Let's now join Bernard Akede for more COVID-19 updates. Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Oluchi. Good morning, Olisa. And yes, good news coming from Morocco, which actually was one of the first African countries to commence inoculation now. Fully vaccinated against COVID-19 in Morocco has reached over 5.6 million yesterday. This is according to the Moroccan Ministry of Health. Now, so far, a total of over 8.7 million first doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in Morocco. The North African country launched a nationwide vaccination campaign on the 28th of January this year after the arrival of the first shipment of China's Sinopharm vaccines. Meanwhile, Morocco's COVID-19 tally rose to over 519,000. That's about 394 new cases were registered during the past 24 hours, and the number of recoveries has increased by 403 to a total of 507,000 persons. The death toll, sadly, from the coronavirus in Morocco has risen to 9,154, with 7 fatalities added during the last 24 hours, while about 216 remain in intensive care units. still on COVID-19. But moving to the east of Africa now, where Ethiopia has registered 196 new COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours, taking the national tally above 271,000. The country's health ministry said 10 new deaths were reported, bringing the country's total death toll to 4,165. The East African country reported 1,190 more recoveries, which is good news, taking the national count to over 238,000 recoveries. According to the ministry, Ethiopia currently has over 28,000 active COVID-19 cases, of whom 399 are said to be under severe health conditions. Coming home now, finally, in Nigeria, our own President, Muhammadu Buhari, has further called for joint international efforts to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and the consequent challenges that come from the pandemic. The president said that the unprecedented crisis brought by COVID-19 pandemic has now caused far more serious setbacks to the quests for sustainable development, hence the need for international cooperation and collaboration to fight the disease. Nigerian leader made the remark at a ceremony to receive credentials from foreign diplomats at the State House here in Nigeria. As we wrap up COVID-19 report, remember, please stay safe, use a face mask. If you haven't taken your own vaccination, try to do so. COVID is still out there.
Yes, indeed, Bernard, thank you very much. We know that COVID is still out there. Wearing face masks, hand washing, sanitizing, it's becoming a culture now.
It is. It actually should. As a matter of fact, it should have been a culture before now. But, well, if it took COVID to remind us to do these things, then so be it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Bernard Akede. Looking at that, index. Wow, look, the total. The recovery can be encouraging, but the deaths, you just want to look away, don't you? Squint your eye, cringe, because it's beyond figures and numbers. Those were actual people.
Exactly, actual people in the COVID-19, in the fight against COVID-19 and in the race to get the vaccines ready for everyone to have the vaccine taken. Oh, Lisa, have you taken your vaccine? Have you been vaccinated?
Like I said, I want to be vaccinated live on the program.
On the program, right? I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I went to apply. I applied for it, and I went there physically to get my own to get vaccinated as well.
You've gotten your first shot.
I haven't gotten my first shot. That's the funny thing, because I went there, and you need to have seen the population, the crowd at the venue, and I had to reschedule some of the time to go for it. But I'm looking forward to having that shot taken.
So we're in the same category now.
I'm just not having mine live on the show. I'm having mine pre-recorded.
Two shots, and I wonder how many people have gotten their second shot. A lot of people, especially frontline workers, have gotten their first shot. So we see as it goes, because we know that once the batch lands, we'll tell you all about it right here on Breakfast Central. All right, coming up next right here on Breakfast Central.
It's all about entertainment, where Fowls joins in security protests.
And in sports, On Jabal wins to go to the next round of the French Open in Paris.
And more programs to watch on News Central.
On the case of Boko Haram, or you can use that for many other cases. For me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe to sit there and just it's like they are made to sit down and address their problems. Why does anybody wait for that? What image does it even give about us, about Africa? In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the president of France and address and just talk about addressing problems. It doesn't make sense that our leaders cannot get themselves together to address problems affecting our people. It doesn't make sense.
All right, so that was the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, a recent speech and giving some real central questions to matters that are, affecting Africa.
Giving some real hard talks to African leaders. I mean, you heard him, we just heard him say that, why African leaders will leave our country and go and sit in Paris with the president.
He was recently in Paris.
Yes,
too.
he was also there talking about our problems. And it looks as if African leaders just want to get into that position just for themselves as against going there for the people. Apparently, the people were the ones who put you there.
He talked about, perhaps for a photo opportunity. You know that thing where they all line up, and have photos. So some interesting comments from the Rwandan president, Paul Kagame. Well, that was it on What Was That right here on Breakfast Central on News Central. You're still watching us. Don't forget you can catch us at News Central TV. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all our social media platforms at News Central TV, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Well, up next is all about the world of entertainment. Stay with us.
All right, yes, you're welcome back to Breakfast Central on News Central TV. And it is time for entertainment. And this is a part that I love as well. All right, so Nigerian rapper Falz seems to not relent in his quest to be a voice against indiscrimination. Now, we hear that he has joined his father, that is Femi Falana, and other Nigerians to protest the spike in insecurity and poverty in the country. Now, Sam Dandy is standing by with that story and more with entertainment stories. How you doing, Sammy?
I'm all right. How you doing? All right, so let's get right into it. So right before I get to that Falz story, let me tell you what's interesting. So Diamond Platinum is today celebrating a new career milestone, as 12 of his songs, 12, in fact, more than all my fingers, have over 1 billion views. Now, he talked about this and he said, you know what, in a couple of hours, some of his songs have hit 1 million views. And Yope Remix, the Congolese singer, has 153 million views. Inama, which is second, has about 90 million views on YouTube. In third place was one of his songs again, Nana, and then fourth was Wow, all with 73 and 68 million views respectively. Now, among the 12 songs are collaborations with, of course, American singer Neo. He has a song, of course, with Pato Rankin from Nigeria as well, and then a song with Rayvanny from Tanzania. Now, this is incredible because at some point he hit over 150 million views on YouTube, and it was the first within East and Central Africa to do this, right? Also, he was the first artist in Sub-Saharan Africa to garner over 1 billion views on his YouTube channel since it was started in 2011. Now, don't forget, he's also nominated for this year's BET's Best International Act, alongside Burna Boy and Wizkid. Now, the numbers are, I must admit, the numbers are actually very impressive, even for me, and I'm Nigerian. Yeah, so if you love Diamond, you've clearly seen all his videos, and then you know that, he has a different spice. It's not Afrobeat, but definitely it's something that everyone seems to be vibing to. Well, let me move from that now, of course, to the story that I was telling you about. Now, this one is Falz, right? So, of course, Falz, he happens to be a lawyer turned rapper, and he's joined his father, Femi Falana, and other Nigerians to protest in spite of insecurity and poverty in the country. Now, they took to the streets on Monday, May 31st, where they marched around Ikeja bus stop to stop at the governor's office through Secretariat of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, they demonstrated, and some of the tags were "Enough is enough." Some of the youth had placards which said "No to exploitation and multiple taxation." Some cards said "Provide jobs or unemployment benefits for youth." Some said "Provide security in schools, end kidnapping and banditry, stop killing, secure Nigeria." It's hard because, of course, a lot of these are people's opinions, the public's opinions, our fears and all. So he was also one of the celebrities who was forefront at the End SARS campaign, End SARS protests that happened in Nigeria last year, which is, of course, still dawning on every one of us. Well, that's not the only news in the news right now about Falz. Well, that's he has a song, right? He has a song that came out last year, and this one was with Niniola, and it's called Squander. Now, he just came to release the remix of that song. Now, he features South Africa's Amapiano sensations Kamo Fela, Umpura, and Seifar. And now, not just is the song out, the video is also out. Now, talking about this. All right, so definitely we're loving this song. We're loving the song. But let me ask you guys in the studio, what do you think about Diamond's Platinum's numbers?
I knew you were going to bring that up first.
You're a fan. Sam, you're a fan of Diamond Platinums. I'm beginning to think you're having a campaign or some sort of agenda.
I'm not.
For him to clinch that BET award ahead of our Wizkids and Davidos. Come on.
let me be honest. I feel like Nigerians, we only listen to a lot of Afrobeats and our artists because it's oversaturated here. So I feel like we should open, and listen to more African sounds.
Yeah, his numbers are doing great.
12 songs, over 50 million views.
Yes.
Wow.
Those views are astronomical views on YouTube. And thanks for giving us the Inakwa Nana Geje one. So that's the remix. So it's called Squander. That's the name of the song.
Squander remix, of course. Yeah.
I heard the song every time on radio. I really don't.
It's a great song.
Alisa is not so Africanish. It just has a little bit of Afrocentric.
I like the Amapiano part, but everything right now is not Marama because we just talked about Fowles and his father, the prestigious lawyer leading those protests yesterday in Lagos. Perhaps does it have anything to do with the tweet we saw from President Buhari last night about some people misbehaving?
Especially because they were not there when the civil war happened to experience it.
I hope not, because it's definitely not misbehavior. He's just, fighting for all of us, to be honest.
All right, yes, you're welcome back to Breakfast Central on News Central TV. Now, do not forget, we're all social media platforms for you to watch us, and that's at News Central TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any other platform. Oh, yes, we're also on Star Times. That's channel 274.
All right, we are Africans, as we love to say here, Africa first. And there is also, as Africans, no matter where you're from, whether from north, south, east, west, even central, no matter the tribe, ethnicity, or religion, they do tend to have a couple of superstitions here and there that myths, beliefs, or even verses, if you may. So let's check this one out, which I believe is coming from Mali. Oluchi, what's the story here?
Okay, so the story says that horse you see lying down on the floor is ill, and as it were, the superstition says that if a lady of quote-unquote noble character were to cross over the horse...
What does noble character
mean? Noble character means that she's either been with just one man, or she has never been with any man at all, aka she's a virgin.
Okay.
Now, if she were to cross over the horse, being of such noble character, that horse is supposed to stand up and be healed. Voila!
Oh my gosh.
Voila!
Are you sure that's not acting or something?
And here you go. Here you have. You can see the horses walking away.
Oh,
and look at the. Do I call it excitement in the air? I mean, see, everybody's excited. Everybody's praising the woman because it seems as if the woman has taken the ailment from the horse. And I wonder where she shoved it into. Probably threw it in the air.
So the horse was lying down as you watch in that video, and the young lady jumped over the horse, and with seconds later, the horse gets up and runs on its own, and people are jubilating, celebrating with the young lady. So perhaps African superstition, is it real? Is it not? I'm sure this is going to generate lots of comments on social media. And we do have our different various, superstitions all across Africa. Some of them myths, some of them true, some of them, completely bizarre.
I mean, some people have asked her, what if that horse was just lying down, trying to just have a chill under the shade kind of relaxation, what I'm saying, like a 5G kind of stuff.
Yeah. I really wonder what's the most bizarre, African superstition.
Growing up as a child, there was this stuff that they said if something was missing in the class and, you wanted to get who it was, they'll put like a toothpick under your chin and they'll count 1 to 10. And if the toothpick falls before 10, then you're the thief. Oh, yes, it was an African tradition. Oh, yes.
Superstition.
It was a superstition.
All right, we're going into the rainy season. Remember that one about, rain and sun and lions giving birth? I don't know. I can never get enough of it. All right, still Breakfast Central, News Central. Up next, it will be time for sports. Right then, welcome back. Time for some sports right here on Breakfast Central News Central. I'm joined by our very own Udoka Njoku. Udoka, good morning to you. Happy new month. It's the 2nd of June, but hey.
Of course, happy new month, Lisa. And one major superstition I used to know back then was when you have itchy palms, it means money is coming. So I actually have itchy palms at the moment.
Show me your palms, Udoka.
They're quite itchy. They're itchy.
Mine are just scratching it like.
All right, Udoka, let's talk about the French Open going on in Paris. There's been lots of debate about Naomi Osaka, but let's start from an African point of view. Ons Jabeur, Udoka, she's through to the next round.
Yeah, of course, and quite interesting the way she got to win that game. And I think she was more of the favorite to win that one against Putintseva. But she'll be up against Sharma later. That'll be tomorrow. But I just want to see her go far in this competition because it seems like she struggles through. And French Open is something that she should actually she has a good way of getting past her opponents at the French Open. So congratulations to Ons Jabeur beating Putintseva in the first round of the tournament. And quite sad that we got to lose a big player in the person of Naomi Osaka in the first round and also pulling out of the tournament because she doesn't want to speak with the media. But Ons Jabeur, the Tunisian, good victory for her.
All right, so we have a Tunisian and Africa into the next round in the females. As women's singles, she's the 25th seed. I also heard that Kevin Anderson has been knocked out. Quite a disappointing one again.
Yeah. He's been knocked out, the South African. It just shows that we're not doing enough as Africans to compete with the big leagues out there, the Europeans, the Americans, at big events like this. I just want us to do more, and sometime soon we just might see an African getting to win a major title.
All right, let's check out those results. We can start with the women's singles out there in the French Open to check them out. All right, Udoka. So Ashley Barty, she's the #1 seed. She's through, beating Bernarda Pera. Not bad at all. Karolina Pliskova also going through. Vitolina also winning. But Ons Jabeur, just like you talked about, women's 25th seed, 7-5, 6-2, she's through. In the men's one, Udoka, let's check it out to see if the likes of, Udoka, they are good to go. Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal, aren't they?
Yeah, and you know, they're in the same group, so there's a possibility that we might get to see a final before the final. I was talking about Rafa Nadal and Djokovic square up against each other, and some of the tennis players over there at the French Open are excited knowing that one of them will be knocked out before the finals of the tournament. So it's been good. They've been showing their class so far. And also, let's talk about Roger Federer, who returned from injury. This is the first tournament in a very long time, and he passed the first round of the tournament. So it's been a good one so far. But I'm still surprised why Venus Williams is still playing tennis. I mean, she's crashed out of the tournament again. She lost in the first round of that one. So I think it's game over for Venus.
All right, away from the world of tennis, I think, Udoka, one of the big news this time is coming away from the blue side of Merseyside. Don Carlo Ancelotti back to Real Madrid again.
I'm not excited, if you ask me. I'm not excited because I feel like Zinedine Zidane has what it takes to lead Real Madrid to yet another Champions League trophy. They had a bad season, but of course, you know, the owner of the president of Real Madrid would always want results. He wants trophies. So bringing back Don Carlo Ancelotti, I don't think it's the right time for him to go back to Real Madrid. I mean, he's been doing well with Everton talking about the English Premier League now. I feel like he should have stayed back at Everton, improve the players, improve on the club, and become a legend right there at Everton. But going back to Real Madrid, I do not think it's a good one. But let's see what he will do. Firstly, he has to manage the ego of these players, the likes of Sergio Ramos. There's also a lot of Marcelo as well. A lot of players are in their late 30s. So how will he get to manage these players? Is he bringing in quality into the team? How is he going to achieve that? I really do not know. And I'm sure he needs to achieve, or rather win a title in his first season with Real Madrid. But good one for Real Madrid bringing back Carlo Ancelotti. But if you ask me, I don't think it's really, really good.
Well, we'll get to see him unveiled later today. All right, Udoka, Mo Salah is in the news again. About another shortlist for another award. A big one for the Egyptian. Tight field.
Oh, well, Mo Salah talking about the English player of the season shortlist. Does he deserve to win it? Well, he has led Liverpool so far this season alongside Sadio Mane. But of course, I don't think he's the overall favourite to get to win this one. If you ask me, I feel like Harry Kane has more advantage to get to win the award. But of course, Mo Salah getting to make the shortlist. Good one for Salah, good one for Egypt, good one for Africa.
All right, so Mo Salah, Harry Kane, Kevin De Bruyne, you know, and the likes. And we heard that even Guardiola is on the list for best coach.
Best coach. I mean, you know, on Twitter some days ago he was trending. They call him Fraudiola because he couldn't get to win the Champions League. But of course, we can't take the fact that he is also a good coach. Bielsa making the team as well. Talking about the coach of the season, the manager right there, Leeds United, and this man, I mean, the former Manchester United manager, David Moyes, making it to the top, the short list for the best manager alongside Brendan Rodgers. For me, if I'm going to pick out the best candidate to get to win this one, well, we just might give it to Guardiola for winning the English Premier League title. But of course, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also has a shot to get to win the award this year. But all favorites will be pointing towards Guardiola getting to win it.
All right, thank you very much, Udoka. I'm sure there'll be lots to come later on In the Game in Sports.
True.
Alrighty, just before we wrap up the show, we need to let you know that on News Central TV, we have other programs that you can watch later today.
NC News now at 12 p.m. Don't want to miss it.
And East Central at 5:15 p.m. West African time.
And we've got prime time news for you, NC Continental Prime at 9 p.m. West African time. Always a jolly good one for a Wednesday show, 2nd day of June 2021, and not bad at all, I have to say. Thanks for watching.
We'll be here again tomorrow from 8 p.m. West African time.
Bye-bye.
Adama.